Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be talking about another Five Nights at Freddy's theory that I have. And today I'll be discussing exactly the possibility of victims of William Afton that we don't know about. The possibility that maybe he did kill more than 11 people. And if this theory is entirely true, then he could have at least inadvertently and unintentionally, the more inadvertently killed at least 20-ish people. So let me explain. In Five Nights at Freddy's 4, in the post-Night 4 minigame, the main character gets locked in a departure and service room. And in the departure and service room is an empty Fredbear suit. It's missing his head. And we can see that there's brown pixels sticking out of it. And the way the pixels are drawn, they look like hair. Like someone with very thick, large hair, which would have been common back then. It looks like somebody's sitting in there and their hair is sticking out of it. Many years ago when this game first came out, many people did point this out. And in FNAF 3, one of the minigames you can get yourself secretly into is the Stage 01 minigame, where you have 3 people in the audience. One of them disappears. And that person is the one we have to give cake to, set their soul free. And so we see what very much looks like hair just sticking out of one of these suits of the animatronics. Maybe that's what Evan saw. The quote that Fredbear plush tells him of, "Remember what you saw." And of course I said that William Afton is most likely speaking to Evan through the Fredbear plush. And so William could very easily be using the knowledge that he knows his son saw this as a reason to stay away from it. Stay away from my machines, stay away from my restaurant, because you don't ever know what could happen. He wants him to stay. He knows this. We use it to get him to stay away, get as far away from Fredbear's family diner as possible, and to scare him into staying away from the robot because he might find a body because maybe saw it getting stuffed in there. Now, in the Five Nights at Freddy's Free Happiest Day minigame, at the very end of the game, the good ending, when you play as the puppet, most likely Charlie, and go to set the souls free, there are 5 other children sitting at 2 tables. Now 2 of them have masks, which greatly resemble Pork Patch, Monty, and Mr. Hippo. Now we know Monty and Mr. Hippo go back to at least 1979, as we find prototype versions of them existing in Edwin Murray's costume manner, though Pork Patch did exist so seemingly until the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 6 Pizzeria Simulator. But we still have 5 children here in different masks. The blue one we haven't identified yet. There hasn't been a blue character in Five Nights at Freddy's yet, at least to my knowledge. There's a lot of them. Trust me, there's a lot of them. So there remains the standing possibility that these are another set of 5 children. As if you go off of the previous sphere, if you watch my previous videos, then you know that there was for certain a second Freddy Fazbear's Pizza running at the time of the MCI, where the spring lock incident happened that led to the removal of the spring lock animatronics and would lead to the creation of the shadow animatronics because the 2 employees in the spring locks died in the spring lock fails. We know these things are notoriously dangerous and notoriously fatal, because if you know anything about them, you'd be very clear that these would be very, very difficult to survive. If you don't usually know those basic things about them, you'd be basically just being impaled from all sides. Unless you always come back like you're William Afton, then you're probably gonna die. So maybe it was at that location he did more murders. Of course, it could also easily be the DCI children, the ones from the second Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and to set them apart from the original MCI children, they were given different masks. The blue one could simply be Toy Bonnie. Toy Bonnie is very clearly blue, while the original Bonnie is much more ambiguously blue. Now, of the other ones, I don't know exactly why. Maybe this guy wasn't really thinking. And of course, that comes with the fun times. We have the blueprints for these machines, the full sizes, weight, height, and everything. These things were designed intentionally to capture and lure away children. They were designed with the ability to mimic the voices of their parents, to call them over. They were designed with the ability to mimic smells and sounds, all kinds of things. Funtime Freddy himself was built with a chamber inside of his own chest to hold children, and Circus Speed was designed with a claw. The lure was designed with the ability to count the amount of children in the room, and when there was one left, it had a claw that could come out and snatch a child and bring it in there, and lure them in using ice cream. So William was most definitely designing these things to murder and to kill. So, and besides the two technicians that die at the very end of such a location, when we see them hanging, possibly, very likely, I believe that the other ones are haunted and possessed. I mean, come on, these things are designed to be killing machines. At least capture them so we can probably do his nightmare experiments on them, like we see in Didophobia. And we do know self-aware animatronics can exist, but this is too early in the timeline for that. These self-aware animatronics don't exist till the 2030s or so. We have Final Fantasy security breach. So somewhere in basically the late 2020s, early to mid 2030s, if you timeline things properly. And going off of the timeline I'm currently building, the initial opening of Circus Speed's Pizza World took place sometime in the late 1980s, maybe 1989 or so. Once William Afton fully realized that dead people can possess these suits, and they can control them, and they can live through them vicariously in some kind of way. Yeah. And they just seem too aware, too sentient, and the whole, you don't know what we've been through. There's a little bit of me in everybody. Those are the teasers for the game before the trailer came out. Those are the lines in the teaser images we got on Scott's website, scottgames.com. And if these things are just, AI, machine robots, how the heck did they become Molten Freddy, Because if they're really just AI, it's pure programming, it seems far less likely to become like, Molten Freddy or whatever. Unless they were like, of course, more likely, spirits, angry, vengeful, mad spirits that are being led by another spirit. Now, most likely, Funtime Freddy Fox are probably possessed by regular old children. Laura, I don't know much about. I have a hard time believing it. There's the possibility that maybe it's his wife. The song that she sings when you're crawling through her area, it seems something that because we know they believe he's William, and the song she's singing, it seems too on the nose, just be a vague song they wrote for her to sing. The whole day because it was about somebody hiding in their walls, they're in like their room, but there's music playing outside and stuff. They've locked themselves away or they're hiding away, doing something when there's still joy outside. Basically, it seems a little bit too on the nose, So maybe he asked her, and she possessed Laura. I just feel a little bit less likely that it's another child that possessed Laura, that's all I'm saying, really. Now, the Bitty Babs and the Mini Arenas, I'd say that's more just those are more like the endoskeletons, basically, possibly. And that, unless, of course, nothing gets stuffed inside of those things. And I doubt they directly killed anybody. They're more like just the agony, like the remnant, allow them to move around. And do stuff. And of course, Circus is more, her being the very clearly leader, everybody listens to her. And, and probably should use, definitely the first, it may have allowed her to be able to control over them more, direct them more. Because we know even the non-truly possessed things, like even Endo 2, can wander around. Endo 2 can walk around on his own into parts of service, into the prize corner. He can even go into the vents. So it's not too far-fetched to say that. Now, of course, with that first theory, it kind of collides with what I talked about in one of my earlier videos, how Charlie was the first victim. But let's say I was trying to defend it a little bit more. You could make the argument maybe he didn't know, he didn't find out, he didn't discover it. There is that possibility. He didn't know that somebody got killed under the premises, and maybe just like maybe it was this guy. I don't know, or something like that. And only when Charlie and everybody else started dying, he realized, oh wait, he's a murderer. It could be something like that, or maybe he really didn't know. But I'm just proposing a few possible ideas of more victims he could have done. There might have been another kid killed at Fredbear's Family Diner. The Fun Times might probably be possessed, at least by children. He may have killed another 5 or at a sister location, or it could just be the DCI. That's all I'm saying. I'm just proposing ideas here, really. That's all I gotta say for today's video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you all again later sometime soon. So, bye. Have a nice time.